Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayat Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavatir Naishtikir. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4, verses 7 through 8. Shyamavadataram virajam prasantarunalochanam Durbhischaturvir veditam Pita Kausambarena cha. Synonyms. Shyamavadataram, beautiful with black color. Virajam, formed of pure goodness. Prashanta, peaceful. Aruna, reddish. Lochanam, eyes. Dorbi, Chaturbhi, being recognized. Pita, yellow. Kosa, silken. Ambarena, garments. Cha, and. Translation. The Lord's body is blackish, but is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, and very, very beautiful. His eyes are always peaceful, and they are reddish, like the morning sun. I could immediately recognize him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his 4 hands, different with symbolic representations, and yellow garments, yellow silk garments. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4, Verse 8. Vama urav adishritya dakshim nangri saroruham apashritar bhakasvatam akresham tyakta pipalam. Vame, on the left. Urav, thigh. Adrishitya, placed on. Dakshin angri saroruham, the right lotus feet. Apashrita, taking rest. Arbaka, a young. Ashwatam, banyan tree. Akrisham, cheerful. Tyakta, having left. Pipalam, household comforts. Translation. The Lord was sitting, taking rest against a young banyan tree with his right lotus foot on his left thigh, and although he had left all household comforts, he looked quite cheerful in that posture. Purport. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, the Lord's sitting posture, keeping his back against the newly grown banyan tree, is also meaningful. Ashwata, the banyan tree, is so called because the tree does not die very quickly. It continues to live for many, many years. His legs and their energies are the material ingredients, which are 5 in all: earth, water, fire, air, and sky. The material energies represented by the banyan tree are the products of his external potency and are therefore kept to his back. And because this particular universe is the smallest of all, the banyan tree is therefore designated as small, or as a child. Tyakta Pipalam indicates that he has now finished his pastimes in this particular small universe, but since the Lord is absolute and eternally blissful, there is no difference between his leaving or accepting something. The Lord was now prepared to leave this particular universe and go into another, just as the sun rises on one particular planet and sets in another simultaneously, but it does not change its own situation. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shlakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hope you are well. Good morning to all of you. So today, in this verse, we are discussing the very, very beautiful, elegant beauty of Lord Krishna in the very, very beautiful and elegant verses right before his departure. And I would also like to extend my respects to so many different devotees that I've heard to today and to prepare for this class, which have really helped me understand so much beauty that is within this verse that first did not come to my eyes. And so here we are seeing Vidura and Uddhava's discussion has now shifted from the departure of the Yadus to now the departure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And so in the previous verses, we see Krishna informs Uddhava, my dear Uddhava, I'm going to leave now. I'm going to leave this material world. It is time for me to depart this material world and move on to some of my pastimes somewhere else. And I know because you are so close to my heart that it will cause you great sorrow to leave me. Here we're seeing the artist has depicted how Uddhava, he looks exactly like Krishna, and he is so desperately in love with Krishna. But why is Uddhava so close to Krishna? Uddhava is Lord Krishna's right-hand man, and Krishna has instructed him in so many various duties. The most important being, as we know, sending Uddhava to Vraja, to the lost town of Vraja, and to really experience the loving separation that Lord Krishna and the Vrajavasis have. And so Lord Krishna tells Uddhava, my dear Uddhava, I'm gonna leave now. And I know because you are my great devotee, you will feel great separation from me leaving you. So I'm telling you, as we saw in verses 5, that you should maybe go to Badrika Ashram and take the company of some wonderful spirit souls there and get some nice association of Shravanam, Kirtanam, and always remembering me. And so he instructs him in that way, and Lord Krishna, he walks towards the river, the banks of the river Saraswati. But Uddhava does something interesting. Instead of following Krishna's order, Uddhava quietly follows Krishna to the banks of the Saraswati. And on first glance, this may seem kind of disobedient on the part of Uddhava, who is the minister, the president of Dwarka, the right-hand man of Lord Krishna. Why is he not following the orders that Lord Krishna said to go to Badrika Ashram? Why is he following him instead? The key to this question is to understand that Krishna tells him, if you feel distressed, you can leave. But the key to that answer is, what is the greatest distress for a devotee? Lord Krishna tells Uddhava to leave because he'll feel great distress when Krishna leaves. But the greatest distress for a devotee is Krishna leaving. And that's why Uddhava quietly follows Krishna, because a devotee cannot bear separation from the Lord. The most distressful thing for the pure devotee, because a pure devotee has no selfish motives, is that he may get separated from Lord Krishna. And Uddhava has just learned this lesson after studying from the greatest of teachers, the Gopas, the Gopis, Yashoda Mai in Vraja. And he realizes that the real test of love is separation. When he goes to Vraja, he sees Yashoda Mai. She's not thinking, oh, Krishna has left me, so I will suffer. She's thinking, Krishna must be suffering over there. What will they do? What will they feed Krishna? He only eats from my hands. He only eats my butter. He only eats my preparation. What will he eat? Over there in the kingdom, what will he get to eat? He must be so thin. And the gopis think, oh, Krishna, he'll never be happy over there, only looking at us and enjoying with us that he gets some happiness. How will he get any happiness over there? He must be so sad in Dwarka. And therefore the gopis are sad. The Gopa boys, they're thinking, oh, Krishna, he doesn't have any friends in Dwarka. Who is he going to play with? And so in this way, all of the Gopas, the Gopis, Yashodamai, all of the Brajavasis are constantly missing Krishna in that way because they miss giving him service. The next beautiful part of this section of verses is the beauty of Lord Krishna. And these beautiful verses mirror the beauty of Lord Krishna when they explain that Lord Krishna, his body is blackish. And we know from Brahma Samhita and so many other literature that this blackish is Shama Sundaram. Just like our deities at Plainfield, he is blackish like a rain cloud. In Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma says that Barhavatam samasitam buddha sundarangam. His body, the figure of his beauty is tinged with the hue of blue clouds. And those blue clouds represent for us, the devotees, Prem Sarovar Radhika that you mentioned in one of her classes, the verse Samsara Dava, we're all in a forest fire of material existence. And when we see Lord Krishna's blue cloud like beauty, we remember peacefulness, we remember serenity, we remember tranquility, because Lord Krishna gives us that mercy fully and causelessly. I also know that Amritanandan Prabhuji, he was once giving in one of the question answers, he was giving a beautiful description. Once he asked Rumpa Swami Maharaj, why is Krishna blue? All of the kids are always bugging me, why is Krishna blue? And as foretold by Amritanandan Prabhuji, Rumpa Swami Maharaj is saying, because Krishna is the master of all rasas. And when you put all of the rasas together, the some color is blue. Is that Shama Sundara blue. So when we put together all of the rasas, the Kama rasa, in Brahma Samhita it's listed that we can have so many different rasas at the very end. So many different rasas we can have with Krishna. When we put all of them together, the motherly, the paternal, the maternal, the Sakha, Sakhi, all of the rasas, when we put them together, they give us this beautiful Shama Sundara color. So that is the beauty of Lord Krishna. And in Brahma Samhita, Brahma says, Venum kvanantam aravinda dalaya daksham Barhavatam samasitam budasundarangam Kandarpa koti kamaniya vishesha shobham Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing the flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with his head decked with a peacock's feather, with the figure of a beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. So this is just a brief dive into Krishna's beauty. His beauty is such that it charms millions and millions of cupids. The next thing we learn about Krishna is that he is Satchidananda. And we know from the first verse, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. Krishna, Govinda, who is the cause of all causes. He has this eternal, blissful spiritual body. And so, when we talk about Krishna's departure, it's nice that Uddhava is bringing this up to remind us that Krishna is not dying in the material sense. He's not leaving us in that sense, but he's simply departing from our line of vision. And one really beautiful thing, as we see in the translation, is his eyes are always peaceful, and they are reddish like the morning sun. So we can approximate the beauty. We see the morning sun sometimes. We're up right now. It's not yet sunrise today. So we can, right now, as the sun comes up, maybe in these 30 minutes, we can approximate the beauty of this rising morning sun to the beauty of the redness around Krishna's eyes. Or we can simply look at the beautiful eyes of Lord Jagannath. And Lord Jagannath's eyes, they have a thick reddish tinge like the rising morning sun, red rising morning sun around his eyes. And his eyes are always peaceful like that. So we can meditate on the beautiful eyes of Chokaki, as we say in Oriya, or the wheel-eyed Lord. And we can try to meditate on the beauty of Lord Krishna right before his departure. Then it goes, and then also one more interesting thing is Rupa Goswami in one of the verses of Nectar of Devotion, he explains how Krishna's eyes are in Sachi Vishtirna Drishti, which means that his in Odissi the pose Sachi means that your eyes are sidelong, so they are to the bottom and to the right. So when you do Sachi Drishti, you're going to move your eyes to the right and to the bottom. And so Krishna's eyes are like that. He's casting sidelong glances to all the gopis. So that is some of the descriptions of Lord Krishna's beauty in this verse. But it is not just about beauty that we see in this verse. We also see Krishna's renunciation. In the second verse, we see that Krishna is saying, that Uddhava is saying, although he had left all household comforts, Tyakta Pipalam is the Sanskrit that is used in the purport. He looked quite cheerful in that posture. Although he had left everything, he looked quite cheerful. So here, we can see that Krishna is setting the example for us of how to detach. But someone may ask the question, why is Krishna the shelter of the three worlds, the proprietor of everything? Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. We know he is the proprietor of everything. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, the controller of all the universes. Why is he taking shelter of a banyan tree? And not only that, a young banyan tree, a small banyan tree. Why is he placing himself, the master of the three worlds, in this position of an unsheltered renunciate? Why is he putting himself in this posture? We're seeing how Krishna is simply just relaxing on the banks of the Saraswati. No cause for distress, no nothing, and we see Uddhava and Maitreya approaching him. And he's sitting on the banks of the Saraswati, so nonchalantly? Why is he putting himself in that position? We see the answer in so many different avatars of Lord Krishna, so many different descending avatars of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna, and his devotees are continuously showing us how to detach from material life. Although they may have all the riches in the world, Maharaj Yudhishthira and his 4 brothers had all the riches in the world. Yet, immediately when they got the sign from Arjuna that Krishna has left, it is time to go, immediately they left. We see the example in our dear Lord Rama in Srimad Bhagavatam. We read, carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by the promise to his wife, Lord Ramachandra left behind his kingdom, opulences, his friends, his well-wishers, his residence, and his everything else, just as a liberated soul gives up his life, and went to the forest with Sita. So here we're seeing the renunciation of Lord Rama. And of course, our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives up in his beautiful, right before his sannyas initiation with Keshava Bharati, we were reading how there was so much despondency on the part of not only his friends, but even on the part of an anonymous barber. How can you, and even on the part of Keshava Bharati, how can you, oh beautiful, glowing man, you have such a sweet, loving, chaste wife. You have such a loving mother. You have such wonderful friends. You have such wonderful opulence and reputation as this great Brahmana. How can you leave all those things? And immediately, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he left all those things. And just as Lord Krishna, he was very cheerful. He was dancing in ecstasy upon getting sannyas initiation. So we can approximate that Lord Krishna, he truly is Satchidananda. We cannot even understand. But here, Krishna is also showing us that how to detach. By knowing that death can come at any moment to us, we can also detach cheerfully and be grateful for all the gifts Krishna has given us. And remember that we have a long way to go to Krishna. So Krishna is showing us as the husband to so many wonderful wives, as the king of Dwarka. The opulences of Dwarka are innumerable. Simply leaving that as in a second and leaving, he's showing us the importance and the process of detachment. The third important, very interesting thing in this verse is the banyan tree that Krishna is sitting with his back to. And this banyan, we also see a similar banyan tree actually in our Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15. In the first 3 verses, we read about an imperishable banyan tree with a very, very complicated branch system. And at the root of this tree is Lord Brahma. And the living entities, because there are so many branches, living entities like me, we jump from branch to branch, branch to branch. Sometimes we are stuck with pious acts, sometimes we are stuck with some sense object. Then in this picture you can see sometimes we are stuck with economic development, religiosity, sense gratification. In this way, we are stuck with so many different occupations of karma. And like monkeys, we people like me, we jump from branch to branch. But Lord Krishna, he says in the 3rd verse, instead of trying to figure out this complicated branch system, just go to the root and cut the root with the weapon of detachment. And we see in this verse, as we have explained earlier, that Krishna is giving us the model of how to detach. So Krishna, in this verse, there is the problem, the banyan tree of material existence, and there is also the solution, detachment, as shown by Lord Krishna. And this banyan tree, it has its roots upwards, branches down, and as we see, Krishna is giving, it's very complicated, and Krishna is giving us the way to overcome it through all of this wonderful things, through all of the lessons of detachment. And we also see that Lord Krishna is also has his back to this banyan tree. And so Krishna, that Prabhupada explains this very often, how Maya and Krishna are always side by side. But Maya cannot touch Krishna. Just as when there is light, there can be no darkness. So darkness or Maya is simply the absence of Krishna. So when Krishna turns his back, and this back, as we have learned in Canto 2, is one of the shows of ignorance, one of the organs in the mode of ignorance. So when we turn our back on Krishna, when we become Bahirmukha, when we turn in ignorance from Krishna, then just simply turn our head to Krishna. We are in Maya, as is the banyan tree. So we simply have to turn our head towards Krishna. So that is the beauty of this banyan tree. I will just take 1 or 2 minutes to tell you all a very beautiful story, because it's also said in this verse that Krishna, that this banyan tree was also a very young banyan tree, and this banyan tree is young because the material universe that we are in is very young. And so this has to do with a story that is revealed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, of how Lord Brahma, he comes on invitation to visit Dwarka. And this Brahma is standing by the door gate waiting for his turn to meet with Lord Krishna. And the doorman comes, and he says, "Who are you?" "I am Lord Brahma." And then the doorman goes back, and he comes back at the doorsteps of Dwarka, and he says, "Which Brahma?" The Lord is asking, "Which Brahma?" And then Brahma says, "What do you mean, which Brahma? I am Brahma. I am the father of all living entities. Tell him I am the four-headed Brahma, son of four Kumaras." And so the doorman goes back, and he says, "Okay, you can come in." And now Lord Brahma has this personal audience with the Lord, and he offers his obeisances, suitable prayers, and the Lord also offers him suitable words. And finally, he tells, the Brahma asks, "My dear Lord, I have a small confusion in my mind. Why did your doorman ask which Brahma? Are there more Brahmas than me?" And so the Lord, he smiles, and he goes into a small meditation, and instantly thousands and thousands of Brahmas come into the room, fit in the room of this small room in Dwarka. Shivas, so many people appear, and some have 10 heads, some have 20 heads. In this picture we can see some have 20,000 heads. And Lord Krishna and all of these Brahmas, they offer so many suitable prayers. They put their helmets to Lord Krishna's lotus feet, and when those gold lotus feet touch when those gold helmets touch the lotus feet of Krishna, so much tumultuous sound is made. It seems like those helmets are offering prayers to Krishna. And this Brahma, this four-headed Brahma at the back, he feels like a rabbit among elephants. So many Brahmas. And all of these Brahmas, they don't know that all of these Brahmas are here, except that one Brahma. And they're all offering suitable prayers and so excited to have a suitable audience. And Lord Krishna is asking for reports from them. Is this universe doing well? Is that universe doing well? And the Brahmas are saying, yes, this universe is doing well. By your mercy, this universe is doing well. Everything is perfect just because you are with us today. And finally, our four-headed Brahma, our head of heads, he learned that his four heads are nothing. And Krishna explains, your particular universe, four-headed Brahma, extends only 4 billion miles. Therefore, it is the smallest of universes, and consequently, you have only 4 heads. And so that is the importance of the small designation of the banyan tree as a small tree. because our particular universe, this universe we are living in, is the smallest of all universes. This banyan tree is therefore considered small, or as a child. And so we can imagine the vastness of Krishna, the immense greatness of Krishna. We can't even imagine. And not only that, how incredible is it that we can have devotee sangha, so much like-minded devotee sangha in such a small universe. What is the chances? What are the chances? So we can only depend on Krishna's plan. And I wanted to end with this beautiful picture from Gujarat. There is this place called Balkatir. This is a place of pilgrimage, and this is the pose that Krishna takes at the banks of the river Saraswati right before his departure. And we can remember that simply meditating on this beautiful form that Uddhava has described, we can remember that Krishna has never left us, that he is always in our hearts, and that one day, by the prayers of many great devotees, we can also see him like the yogis see him in Brahma Samhita, Primanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochananda, with eyes that are tinted with love. So with that, I would like to end. Here is a beautiful picture from Balkatirtha. If you have any comments, I'm sorry I went a little over time. Very excited because so much nectar in this beautiful verse. So thank you, Madhupati Prabhuji, for allowing me to study this verse. If you have any reflections or any other things that I missed, please let me know so that we can speak about it.
Thank you very much.